Right, morning folks. Welcome to round 3 of the South African Motocross National Championships. Guys, it's Bloemfontein, one of the best tracks in South Africa. The atmosphere is already electric. Everybody is already humming and ready to go. It's an exciting day. A lot of different things happening today. There's some different riders coming around, which I think is going to mix the things up a little bit. We're looking forward to it. It's going to be an absolute wild day. The track is perfect as it usually is in Bloemfontein. It's going to be a brilliant day. Looking forward to it.
Round 3 of the South African National Motocross Championships took place in Bloemfontein on May the 4th. Yes, International Star Wars Day. And man was the force strong in the 125 high school category. 22 riders about to go to battle, the gates about to drop, and in heat 1, who was going to have the force? It was the 21 bike. He came out on tops, and Bucko getting the whole shot into turn 1, with Matthew Correa alongside him, pushing hard right from the word go. Just behind that, a battle ensued. Kate van der Venter getting into the mix right up front and up close and personal with Tristan de Roo, double winner from the previous round. De Roo was pushing hard, and so was Thor Johnson, who joined the party. You could see just how epic this battle was going to be. There were literally 4 riders fighting for second place as Bucko tried to control things from the front and get away from the rest of the pack. That's not an easy thing to do, and Adler joined the party scene as well. As we saw a magic ride coming from the Zimbabwean, he was absolutely on fire and no one could catch him in the first heat. But the fight for second place was raging so hard, it actually slowed them down. And by slowing them down, it was giving an opportunity to Trey Cox, who hadn't got a great start, for a chance to close in and possibly get into at least the top 3 by the time the checkered flag came out. Adler was still controlling things with Van der Venter right behind him, and the 444 of de Roo just waiting to pounce as soon as something went wrong. Further back from that, there were some great battles as well. And in that mid-pack, it was nice to see a battle between the 2 Aidens. Yes, Hayden Henley and Aiden Safi having their own little fight as well. As they came in amongst the back markers, the Hunter van Rooyen certainly threw a cat amongst the pigeons and just split the 3 riders fighting for second ever so slightly, allowing Trey Cox to close the gap down and get to them. Once Cox was there, he started to tick them off one by one and was looking for a certainty of a top 3 at least. That's where he wanted to be. Adler, though, was not going to have anything of it. And neither was Cade or Tristan. Cade van der Venter was hanging on for second place. Tristan de Roo trying to hang on for a possibility of a 3rd spot. And that's exactly how it finished up. At the end of it, it was all about Bucko. Bucko controlled things from the front, and yes, he would go on to win the first heat. In second place, a fantastic ride coming out of the 16 bike of Cade van der Venter. He'd open a small margin over de Roo. De Roo there just controlling things to keep Adler out down in 4th place. And yes, Adler would have to hang on and try and beat out a possibility of seeing his chances of that top 5 going away. Fortunately, he was able to hang on. At the end of it though, they came into some more back markers and coming through on Henry van Rooyen. Adler had a chance, just couldn't quite capitalize on it. And he was just not able to get through there. Thor Johnson did close things down there in the closing stages, but Bucko, Kate van der Venter and Tristan were your first winners of Heat 1. In Heat 2, look at that gate. Absolutely amazing to see. Over 20 riders in a 125 class. And I think the Desert Fox might have had a chat with Trey Cox. The reason I say that is have a look at this start. Out of the gates, on the back wheel, all the way down into turn 1, inside line, and Trey Cox hits the front with a magic hole shot. No answer whatsoever from anybody else out on circuit for the power of that KTM heading down into turn 1. Cox had the whole shot, but Kate van der Venter, Adler and de Roo once again were fighting for second, and they were pushing it to the limit. So much so that they pulled slightly away from the original race 1 winner, Bucko. But Bucko didn't take too much time on the Betterbrands bike to close things down and get into that fight for the front end of the field. Cox was cruising, absolutely perfect. Looked like he was on the Millennium Falcon, he was going so well here on Star Wars Day, and getting away from the rest of this field. But behind them, the fight continued, and it was a huge one with Cade, Adler, de Roo, and Bucko all fighting for what would be second place on track. An amazing battle ensuing between those 4 riders. In the mid-pack, it was great to see some fights as well between Jean Visser, who finished up in 8th place in the first heat, trying to get a little bit higher up, and Aidan Henley back in the mix as well. The gaps had opened up between the top 5, and Bucko had slowly but surely made his way into that top 5 and was looking for a possibility of a 3rd spot. He had to still try and find a way through on Adler, and that was his absolute target by the time he saw the laps ticking down. Back markers were always a factor right in the closing stages, but not for Cox and not for Duro, and eventually not for Bucko. That would be your top 3. And in the overalls, Emmanuel Bucko eventually would take the overalls ahead of Trey Cox, Tristan Duro, Kate van der Venter, and Ryan Adler, with Tristan Duro hanging on to the red plate for the next round.
How's my bro?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Are you not too bad, eh? So tell us, how was your day, man?
The day started pretty good. Practice got a P2 by 1 second, and then from that, I was just feeling good, you know. Same feeling I had in Cape Town, in PE. And then first moto, managed to get a P1 with a pretty little comfortable margin. And then moto 2, got a bad start. Got tangled up with a few riders and then had to fight my way back and forth. And then I passed Ryan, Tristan, and Cade, and then, you know, I was just tired from there. Like, I put out everything in that moto, so on the last lap, you know, I couldn't hold on anymore, and then I was like, wait a minute, even if he passes me, I still get the overall. So yeah, I'm happy with that. My first overall this season, and yeah, this is the start to bigger and better things for me. Now we know what we need to work on in terms of fitness, because the speed's there, it's just the fitness that's lacking. So yeah, next round, better know.
Awesome, dude.
Coming to play.
Emmanuel Bucko.